Welcome back to the deep dive. We sift through your source material to get you the insights you need.
And today, well, today we've got something that really pushes back against some core beliefs.
Yeah, we're diving into a pretty provocative stack of sources today, the topic. It's this unexpected idea called the strategic weaponization of kindness.
Right. And, the mission here is to really grapple with what these sources are arguing. They're essentially saying we need to rethink kindness entirely.
Totally. They claim society's kind of sold us a lie, that unconditional kindness is a virtue.
Exactly. And their take is that this belief keeps people, well, soft, compliant, and predictable. It's a challenging perspective from the get-go.
No kidding. And they don't pull punches. The core claim is just,
Yeah.
wow, they argue kindness itself has been weaponized against the ambitious.
Yeah, they literally say it's shackled more men than any chain.
So just to be clear, for everyone listening, we're not talking about ditching morality. We're examining the argument for strategic compassion versus what these sources just call default weakness.
It's about shifting from just feeling good in the moment to thinking about long-term impact and, honestly, resource management.
Okay, let's really unpack that.
Yeah.
This idea of uncontrolled kindness as a liability. The sources get right into the psychology here. They argue that this automatic yes, this sort of default niceness, it's not virtue. They call it cowardice with a smile. Yeah, and they pin it directly on a fear of confrontation.
And that framing is key, isn't it? It's saying the root cause isn't generosity. It's fearing the social awkwardness of saying no.
Exactly. Like, the sources give specific examples. Think about saying yes to a big favor. Not because you want to, but because you're afraid of the look on their face if you refuse.
Right. You're basically valuing their potential fleeting discomfort more than your own time or energy.
Or, letting someone just constantly drain your energy because setting a boundary feels too confrontational.
Or maybe accepting a bad deal because you're afraid to negotiate harder. It's like you're making yourself cheap to avoid friction.
You end up being exploited, essentially, just to dodge an uncomfortable moment.
And the sources connect this directly to real-world outcomes. They say people running on this default kindness often end up, quote, broke, tired, and unfulfilled.
That's bleak.
It is. They paint a picture of people lending money they can't afford, working extra hours for nothing, basically prioritizing, as they put it, another man's comfort over their own empire.
It sounds like an equation based on fear, not generosity.
That's the argument. It's unsustainable.
Okay, but hang on. This feels really cynical. Are they saying every kind act is just fear in disguise? That kind of strips away any genuine altruism, doesn't it?
Well, that's a really important point to clarify. They aren't saying get rid of kindness altogether. It's more about getting rid of unconscious weakness that looks like kindness.
Ah, okay. So it's about the motive.
Exactly. Motive control. If you do something kind but feel resentful because you only did it out of fear or obligation, is that really kindness anymore? Or is it just like a hidden tax on yourself?
So they want you to be generous when you choose to be, not when you feel forced.
Precisely. Conscious choice over unconscious reaction.
Right. So if that old way leads to burnout, what's the alternative? What's the system they propose?
They push for a pretty radical shift in how you manage your personal resources. They call it the Alpha Code.
The Alpha Code. Okay, let's break that down. It sounds like it treats your internal resources like, well, commodities.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. 3 core things. Your time, that's currency. Okay.
Your energy, that's fuel.
Makes sense.
And your focus, your ability to concentrate, that's a weapon.
Wow. Okay, if you really internalize that, every request for your time or attention feels different, doesn't it? It's not just a small ask anymore.
It becomes a potential withdrawal from your future success, a potential drain.
So, following that logic,
Yeah.
giving these things away freely and without discrimination, as they say, it's not kindness in their view, it's actually reckless.
Reckless, like giving away your future potential to, quote, someone else's mediocrity. This whole idea forms the basis of what they term the economy of compassion.
An economy of compassion. Interesting phrase.
And like any economy, it requires careful investment. Kindness in this model isn't a handout, it's an investment.
So, who do you invest in? What are the criteria?
Very specific. Strategic kindness, they argue, only goes to people in the arena.
In the arena, meaning?
People who are actively building something themselves, people who are striving, maybe suffering for their own goals, and crucially, people who already respect your time and your mission.
It sounds like you're building alliances, not just being nice randomly.
That's the idea, creating a powerful coalition of builders.
But doesn't treating kindness purely as an investment Risk-making interactions feel really cold, transactional, dehumanizing even.
They anticipate that criticism. Their counter is about the outcome. They argue these transactional relationships focused on mutual growth actually lift everyone involved, as opposed to the default model, which they say often just props up people who aren't building anything and just expect you to provide for them indefinitely.
So true compassion, in this view, is about helping others build their own strength, not just giving them endless support.
Right. Tools, not crutches.
Okay, if you're operating like this, strategically,
Hmm.
you absolutely need strong boundaries, right?
Yeah.
You need to know when to say no, definitely. And they're very clear on the trigger point. It's when your kindness becomes an extraction. Extraction, meaning someone just expects you to fix their problems because they're lazy or won't do the work.
Exactly. They expect your competence to cover for their lack of it. That's the line.
And when that line is crossed, the response has to be.
The cold, definitive NO. They call it the ultimate act of self-respect.
It's not personal, it's protective. Protecting the engine. Protecting the engine so you can do bigger things later. This requires a real shift in how you see yourself. The sources are blunt. You are building an empire. You are not a charity.
Wow. Okay. Their point is that lasting change doesn't come from small, random niceties. It comes from achieving extreme competence first.
And then using that power, that competence, to help others. But on your own terms.
On their own terms. Critically important. Giving them capacity, not just temporary relief.
This really comes together in that central analogy that you used, doesn't it? The difference between the nice guy and the good man.
Oh, yeah. This is crucial. This really crystallizes the whole argument.
Let's drill down on this. The nice guy. Who is he in this model?
He's the one driven by that immediate need to feel virtuous. He gives his last dollar to someone asking for help.
And ends up unable to help himself or anyone else long term.
Exactly. He gets that short-term emotional hit, feels good for a second, but ultimately erodes his own potential. He solves one tiny problem now at the cost of solving bigger ones later.
Okay, so contrast that with the good man.
The good man, according to these sources, might actually say no in that immediate situation. He protects his resources, he focuses, he builds his fortress, his competence, his machine.
The machine being his business, his skills, his capacity.
Right. And that machine eventually generates enough value money, jobs, opportunities that he can actually employ the person who asked for help, teach them a skill, offer real sustainable uplift.
So the nice guy creates dependency. The good man creates capability.
Fundamentally, the good man's no today enables a much bigger, more impactful yes tomorrow. His competence becomes his actual kindness because it has real-world systemic impact.
So for you listening,
Yeah.
the goal here, from this perspective, isn't being liked by everyone because you always say yes.
No, not at all. It's about being respected by the people who matter, the other builders, because they know your yes means something huge.
Backed by actual strength and competence.
And your no is absolute. It's a wall built on self-respect and focus. The final message seems really stark. Your mission comes first. Your competence is your kindness. Yeah. If you're not competent, your kindness might just be, well, inefficiency or even fear masking itself. Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up. The core takeaway seems pretty challenging, but clear. Maybe stop aiming to be the guy everyone likes because he's agreeable. And instead, aim to be the man who's respected for his focus, his strength, and his ability to actually do things. That's where real help comes from, according to this view.
Competence is the foundation for meaningful impact.
Right. But that competence, that fortress, built on focus,
Yeah.
it does leave us with a final thought, something for you to chew on.
Okay.
If achieving this extreme competence is the goal, the highest form of kindness,
Yeah.
how do you make sure that fortress built with such intense focus doesn't just lead to isolation? How do you actually use that power, that competence, to genuinely lift others on your own terms, as the sources say, without slipping back into that default weakness you worked so hard to escape? What does that really look like in practice?